game name with a Y stuck on the end of a noun. And it looks a bit like Crossy Road, but it's definitely not Crossy Road because I have a great big walloping sword. My name's Alicia and I bloody love great big walloping swords, and I'm playing a Crossy Road clone, but not clone, called Looty Dungeon. Now, it's not to be mistaken with Running Pillow's Dungeon Loot, or that other game, Devious Dungeon, or Legends of Loot, or Heroes of Loot, or Game of Loot, Amazing Loot Grind, Loot and Legends, Pixel Dungeon. Okay, there are a lot of dungeon crawlers on mobile, but what makes this one in particular so different? Well, I mean, the short answer is it's not really that different. It's basically the result of what would happen if Dungeon Hunter and Crossy Road went all Marvin Gaye and got it on, if you get me. It's kind of like two clones in, well, it's a clone of Crossy Road, but taking this super, super popular dungeon crawler and kind of seeing what comes out of it when you mash them both together. So how do you play? Well, I'm controlling this little knight dude, and each level of this dungeon, I'm trying to get to that yellow door on the other side. By just simply tapping, Crossy Road style, I can run across different obstacles, swipe to the left, I go left, swipe to the right, I go right. And I can go back, seemingly, I think, as much as I want, as in swiping backwards. Obviously, I can't go back to the previous room, but you know when you play Crossy Road, I think if you go 3 rows back or something, a massive eagle comes and swipes you off the grid. Well, in this, I'm going backwards a lot and nothing seems to be happening. No eagle is appearing. So that's one thing that's not been taken. But the main game sees you battling through different rooms. You have 3 lives, which are represented by hearts in the top left corner of the screen. As you can see, I'm not doing that great on my lives. I've only got 1 left. But it's about getting as far as you can without dying, and that kind of, I guess, almost endless runner style. From what I understand, all the dungeons here are procedurally generated. So every time you go back to the beginning and have to start a new run again, you're going to get a different load of dungeons, which is nice. You know, it stops it from becoming stale. And each room is slightly different. So here in this room, you can see that the room up ahead is locked. I'm going to have to take out this green block. But I got killed by a trap. So I can either watch an ad or pay some gold to carry on playing. If I pay my 4 gold, I'm launched back into this room with a whip. Is that a halo? Do I have like a tiara on my head? I don't... Fair enough. Well, me and my tiara are going to head through to this door at the end. I'm going to grab this gold coin as I go because it can be used to buy new characters and lives in game. Looty Dungeon is very, very free to play. So you can either collect these coins or buy them as an in-app purchase and use them to buy all sorts of stuff. In this room though, ideally I'd like to tempt this green blob out onto the spikes. In Looty Dungeon, enemies are as vulnerable to traps as you are, so it's often easier to tempt them out into the path of a trap rather than kill them yourself with your sword or your bow and arrow or whatever weapon you have. To be honest though, half the time they just kind of kill themselves, which takes the fun out of the game somewhat, but hey ho, looks like in this final room we've got a boss. Now the bosses here come in all shapes and sizes and you've got to use different tactics to kill them before they kill you, like I just so aptly demonstrated. I was going to try and hit him with my sword, but that clearly failed. But instead, so like if you've played Crossy Road, when you die, you sometimes get rewarded with a brand new hero. Then, I mean, they're trying to kind of pull from Crossy Road that the characters were always super humorous, you know. You'd have everyone from Gangnam Styles, the main dancer guy, to a hedgehog to a frog. Here you've got a hunter, and you can unlock them with, I think that guy cost me 100 gold coins. So again, it's this in-game currency. But unlike Crossy Road, each of these characters have different attributes. So you start off with this guy, he's an archer, your average ranged hero. He'll shoot bow and arrows at far away enemies. You can also get, I think I've unlocked a samurai with a big sword. I was playing with this knight earlier on, so he had a sword and a shield, which meant that he could also defend himself. I know you can unlock catapults as well. All sorts of characters, all sorts of attributes, but that's basically Looty Dungeon. I'm not entirely convinced by it. It feels like a game I've played before, borrowing a little bit too much from Crossy Road and other dungeon crawlers. It definitely won't be winning any marks for originality, but if it tickles your fancy, it's free to play and will be launching on iOS sometime in March. We've not got an exact release date yet. Let us know what you think of it in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys on the next video.